Blessings, guys. The name is still Elwilbro. El Wobro. Thank you. I keep thanking you guys because you are part of this journey and you are the people that are supporting us. God richly bless you for your time, even though you are learning, but not everyone will spend their time watching and learning what we've been posting. God richly bless you. As I keep telling you, share with your friends. We are still on dating and courtship. Okay, we've looking into a lot of stuff like dating, what dating is, what courtship is. Um, we we've spoken about dating, communication in dating. We've spoken about intimacy. We've spoken about faith and values. Okay, we've spoken about boundaries. So if you've not watched it, go back. Go on our page, Elwubro YouTube channel. Go to the page. Just start watching it because if you follow it, it's going to help you because we started from somewhere. So if you are new on this channel, please, you can go back and watch the previous video so that you get more understanding and also follow us to where we are going. Today I have our father here again and we continue with the series. Today we're going to talk about distance relationship. We are still on courtship and dating, but we're going to look at communication. Communication, and I have some few questions that I'm going to ask him so that he can explain to us so that we understand the whole thing distance relationship. Okay, so just be on the platform, share, subscribe, and let's keep going. Daddy, we keep going again.
We keep going, yeah.
We keep going.
And we want to encourage the people, if you have questions, they
Yeah.
can go ahead and put those questions in
Yeah.
the chat. and
So
we'll try
if
to
you have
answer
a
them.
question,
Yeah.
just put it on the question section. I think a friend sent me a question after watching it, and I think we are not yet there. I'm gonna ask Daddy when we get there, when
Yeah.
we get to that part. Okay, he was asking me about money, and we are not yet there at
Yeah.
money part. So I'm gonna ask Daddy. So just put your questions,
Questions,
even
yeah.
if it's in the previous videos.
Yeah.
Just put it there.
We'll
When you
answer
put
it.
it in the previous video before we continue with it to the next section, I'm gonna ask him so he explain before we move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you too as well. So Daddy, we are dealing with we want to talk about distance relationship in dating and courtship. Okay, and my question is it cool? I'm using cool because I'm trying to. Is it cool to be in a distance relationship? This is not. I'm gonna ask you more questions about it.
yeah.
But is it cool for one to be in like a distance relationship?
So just the bottom line, I would say, nothing's wrong. It can be cool, but each person have a different disposition, right?
Okay.
So just generally, if we say, okay, how does it apply to? Can somebody in a long distance relationship? Absolutely yes, but everybody's not the same. So can you imagine when my grandparents got married? They got married to somebody from their same community because it's proximity in those days. When my father got married, although he got married to somebody, but there's a good chance he probably couldn't get married to somebody from the neighboring village. Proximity. When I got married, I didn't get married to somebody not even from my country, a different country. The world has changed now.
Yeah.
What it is, I have a son who got married to an American girl, and so it's okay to have that relationship in terms of distance. But again, I have to say, there are people who can handle distant relationship.
Okay.
And there are people who cannot handle this relationship.
Wow.
So they must know for sure. And that's why I remember when we started this journey, if you don't know who you are, stay home.
Yeah.
Don't even start thinking of getting into a relationship. You got to know who you are.
Wow.
Know, can I handle distant relationship? Because there are challenges that go with that.
Wow. That's we have questions on that we're gonna
Yeah.
ask you.
Yeah, there are challenges with that.
We have questions on that.
So generally we say yes, it can be done. But again, you know who you are and if you can work it out.
So if you are in a distance relationship, yes, it can be done. As Daddy said, he set an example for us. His son married to someone in America. He also married to someone in a different country. Okay, so it's not even the same country that you say we're from different countries. So it can be done. It's possible. That's what he's saying. but he took us back to the beginning of our section, the episode 1. If you go and watch it, you see that he spoke to us about dating, and he said, know yourself before you start dating. So know yourself and know that if you can handle the crisis and those things that comes with the distance relationship.
Date
So
yourself first.
yeah. Date yourself first. This is deep. So about communication in distance relationship, my first question is that how can we maintain effective communication despite physical distance?
Yeah. And thank God for technology today.
Technology. Wow.
You know, technology there was a time, if you had to make a phone call, the cost could be, so high. It could be discouraging. There are times, even the limited communication. But today, technology has changed that. If your person is in another country, you can talk to that person every day through FaceTime, through WhatsApp. You can actually see the person. So that's all the different thing that goes with the technology.
Wow.
But the key here is maintaining the communication. That's why we say it's not for everybody. So if you're in a long distance relationship, it means that you got to be intentional
Wow.
about the communicating,
Intentional.
the checking in, the accountability piece that goes with that. It means that you kind of say, oh, I forget to call you. Or I forget to probably have something to do, forget to do these things. It means that there's a constant communication that goes on within that and all of the piece that goes around this. So the intentionality has to be there. You cannot just take it for granted. You got to be intentional about this relationship.
You got to be intentional about the relationship.
And even in people who are not in long distance, they have to be intentional
Yeah.
about it. So,
Yeah.
intentionality in a relationship is absolutely important.
Wow.
Whether the person is living just down the street from you or the person is in another country.
Wow.
You have to be intentional about that relationship.
Wow.
But as the person is in a long distance relationship, it means that your intentionality and focus has to be in a specific way of staying in touch and connecting. We talked in one of our episodes about intimacy, right?
Yeah.
In a long distance relationship, you probably don't get to hug that person, to look into the eyes, and all of those things that goes. But even from a long distance, with technology today, you can send small little gifts.
Yeah.
You remember talk about the love language of those who like to receive certain things.
Yeah.
So if that person's love language is communication, sure, you can send WhatsApp messages and so forth. But if you have that person's address, wouldn't it be nice to just go out and get a card?
Yeah.
And write on that card. And could you imagine a person go into their mailbox and get a card from you, with your thoughts just written down.
Wow.
You know how the message that sends more than just a quick WhatsApp message,
Yeah.
right? So
That's awesome.
so
That's awesome. We learning seriously. This is. Should I say that is romantic? Seriously, because a lot of people would think that maybe I'm always talking to her on phone, or I've been testing her, but this mean a lot, especially, and it's not only for guys to do it; it's women too can do it.
Absolutely.
So it's
and let me just say to the people who are watching, you probably in a long distance relationship, and I know you communicate and so forth, but there are certain days, birthdays, if there's anniversary among you, there's Christmas time, send physical cards. And you don't have to wait on occasion, but every now and then send a physical card, talking about your relationship, expressing how you feel. Those goes a long way. And then if your partner is somebody who like to receive flowers, you can stay in any country and send flowers now, So all of these things you can do now.
Wow. You can do all of these things now. My next question is, what are some strategies for regular, meaningful interactions?
Strategy number 1, time.
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 Wow.
If you don't make no time doesn't sit down and wait on anybody. If you don't make the time, a day will pass. And if you don't think it's important, 2 days pass.
Wow.
And then if you think, I'll get to it tomorrow, 3 days has come. So time, I'll say, is your number 1 strategy on how you manage your time to stay in connection with somebody in a very long relationship. It means you got to look at your mode of communication, what's best for you. For some people, I mean, there are different ways, but whatever area you choose to communicate, you and your partners understand that, but set time for your connection.
Wow.
Your meeting time has to be set, otherwise it won't happen. We all are
Wow.
busy people.
Wow. Wow. I think
Strategy of time.
Daddy has already answered the question that I was about to ask, because I was about to ask him that how can we prioritize communication and make time for each other?
Yeah.
And this is the answer he has
Yeah.
given to us. And this is the time is very important. So communicate with your partner about time and all that. My next.
And before we go, the reason we stress time and those things because there's an aspect in courting that is visual. There's an aspect in courting that presence is important.
Wow.
So sometimes it's easy to get distracted, sidetracked because your partner is in a different place, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be intentional about it to keep your relationship fresh, keep your relationship cotton. You used the word early on in one of our sessions, cultivate it. You know,
Yeah.
so if you plant something but you never turn back to water it, eventually die.
Yeah.
So you got to find ways to cultivate that relationship,
Wow.
even in long distance. Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry about it.
Wow. That's deep. What are some common communication pitfalls to avoid?
All right, this is a good one. Um, blaming,
Blaming?
shifting responsibility.
Shifting
So
responsibilities.
never want to take responsible for your action.
Your
You know,
actions.
so always. I think the young people call something like gaslighting, whatever that is
Yeah.
now. You know,
We know what he's talking about. Gaslight. We
Yeah.
just brush it off
Brush it
like
off,
we want
yeah.
to be like, we're not responsible.
But,
We don't care.
yeah,
That's it.
So in my generation we call it you shifting the blame, right? So with other areas you have to watch out for in terms of the pitfall is harsh words.
Harsh words.
Harsh words, so like being judgmental, accusation, all of those things are you have to watch out for this. So it's one thing we say, especially in marriage, there are certain words you try to avoid. Is like you never do this, you know, or you always. And that person may have the tendency to do so, but most of the time when you hear these words, are coming with a level of judgment, a level of harshness. So your words is important. And listen, and we talk about faith and value at our last session.
Yeah.
Even the word of the Lord tells us our words are important.
Yeah.
It must be seasoned
Yeah.
with grace, right?
Wow.
The words that we speak, we can't be harsh to people. We cannot be judgmental. They have to bring a level of love and care. So in a relationship, how much, you know, that you do that. Otherwise, if in a relationship there's always a tone of judgment, harshness, and not taking responsibility, that is not cultivating. That is actually destroying the relationship. It cannot sustain that on the long run.
Wow. Wow. That is deep. So I have a last question for you on communication concerning distance relationship. So the question is, how can we ensure we are on the same page?
Well, again, you come back to, and some of these are all tied in, the value system, what is important. Because again, I think when we were talking about it, in this reason, different people want different things. So you want to be on the same page, right? So the woman may only want you to communicate to her on the weekends, but the man wants to talk to you 3 times a week. You want to get on the same page.
Yeah.
So the value system has to talk about why is that person want 3 times? Why does the man want me to talk to him 3 times a week? Don't you know I work?
Yeah.
You know, or the woman, oh, she only want to talk to me on the weekend. What's going on? You know, she may think, you know, I'm not important.
Yeah, and
So
sometimes time differences too.
difference,
Yeah.
exactly, time difference. If a person of different time zone, it means you have to learn to manage that. You know, when one is awake, one is asleep. So all of those things there has to be able to manage those areas of lives and communicate as to what is the expectation, how you're going to work through all of this here, and never jump to conclusion.
Never jump into conclusion. Daddy, thank you for
You're welcome.
having you on this section. So we are still on courtship and dating, and today we are looking at distance relationship. Okay, as Daddy said earlier on, he said it is not wrong. Everything is possible. Even the Bible says with God all things are possible. So it is possible for you to be in a distance relationship. It's gonna work for you if you communicate with your partner. If you be like you get to the same page with him or her, okay, everything is going to be all right. So the name is still ELWILBROL Wobro. Thank you for joining us today. Before you go, subscribe and share. Hit the notification bell and tell a friend to share it. See you in the next episode. Stay blessed.